It's time once again for your weekly update from the city of New Hope. The mayor is with us looking very spring-like. Welcome, Mayor. How are you today?
Actually, those daisies were taken at a place in Canada last summer, but I just couldn't resist having daisies in the background for
We
us.
like it. Soon to come to New Hope and the Northwest suburban area. We've got a lot to talk about today. Let's get right to it. The first one is to talk a little bit about 42nd and 169. You're going to see a lot of activity coming up there soon, and there's already some work taking place as far as figuring out where things might sit, Mayor. Tell us a little bit more about the process and what's to come.
Well, we're working for an easement from Holy Nativity Church to put in a new stoplight on 42nd and Gettysburg. And so that's in the process now. They're telling me that they're going to start working on that bridge in the interchange in early April. So if you need to cross over 169, you need to go on 36th or 49th because 42nd bridge will be closed and you won't be able to get across that.
All right, lots of detour signs coming. Watch for those. Let's move up a little bit further in New Hope, up by Boone and 62nd by the school there. There's going to be some changes to that roadway that are coming that you wanted residents to know about.
Well, at 62nd, Boone becomes part of Brooklyn Park. And Brooklyn Park informed us that they're going to be resurfacing that street, Boone, and they're going to remark it to 3 lanes instead of 4. They're probably going to take away the on street parking on Boone north of 62nd. So just be aware that that's going to be done. It usually doesn't take real long to do, a few weeks, but just know that they're going to be resurfacing that.
All right, and that's all around Meadow Lake Elementary. Let's move a little further down to Meadow Lake itself. And we've been talking about this lake and some of the treatments. What is the latest, Mayor, on how we're going to treat some things in that lake?
Well, we got a contractor that is going to do an alum treatment. They put some stuff in the water. Apparently that lake, because of it sitting in residential areas and the golf course, a lot of phosphorus goes into the lake from fertilizers used on the lawn, even though we're trying to keep it out as much as we can. But that'll help cut down on the weeds. So that treatment, that alum treatment, will happen in early April. Hopefully we've got actually water instead of ice on the lake. So we'll be able to get that in.
All right, another project going on in that same sort of area is over by West Broadway, and there's the sanitary sewer lining, and this involves video in some way, Mayor?
It does. You know, I'm warning people, don't expect to watch this on late night TV because you're not going to. So they send a camera down into the sewer lines so they can televise and monitor what needs to be done inside those sewer lines. And once that work is done, they'll come back and look at the film, and then they'll do a couple of weeks will go by and they'll actually do the lining of that sewer. So be prepared to have trucks there. They don't close down the whole intersection, but there will be trucks there, and it'll cause traffic to be a little slower.
Let's talk a minute about water in the city and the water tower in specific. There was some planning going on to paint that tower in the upcoming year, but that has changed slightly, I understand.
It has. This would be the South Tower. And apparently we were going to repaint it in 2024, but Golden Valley and Crystal are doing some work on their pump houses. I don't know why that affects our tower, but it does. So they're moving that painting out to 2026.
A lot of items under community development. Let's start with some information. If you like numbers, here's a few for you about home values. What have we seen in New Hope over the past couple of years?
Well, in 2022, the average or the median home value was 325,000. Now in 2023, it's gone up to 326.50. So it's gone up a little bit. You'll notice on your tax statement that it's a little higher than it was, but the big jump was really in 2022.
Let's update residents on a few other numbers related to group homes. Just how many are in the city and how has that number been trending itself?
Well, we have 61 group homes in New Hope. In 2022, last year, we had 60, and the year before we had 53. Now, group homes are really regulated by the state, by the legislature, so we don't have a lot of say in the group home moving to New Hope. We do have some say in the running of that group home.
Let's move to scattered site. A lot of updates here of things happening around the city. First is 3611 Louisiana. This process is moving ahead. Give us the latest, Mayor.
The hazardous material has all been removed, And now the fire department is going to come in and do some training in there. There'll be a notice sent out to the residents, so they'll know that they're there, but if they have to be driving by and you see the fire trucks, it's not a fire, it's training.
Let's move up to Winnetka, 49th and Winnetka, a home there and a property that is going through the process, and this seems to be moving ahead rather quickly.
Well, the people that live there, there's still one person that's living in the house. We have made arrangements to buy that house, and the people that are, the person that's there can stay there until the 30th of June. Chances are they're probably going to move out sooner. Once we have that house, we will demolish it, and it's going to be a lot split, so we'll be able to put two houses on that lot. Both the houses will not face, they'll face 49th, they will not face Winnetka. So look for a demolition going on there.
All right, and let's move up. Last scattered site update is up at 58th and Boone, a property we've been talking about. And again, this is moving ahead as well.
It is. We're almost certain that the bank's going to accept our offer. I think the offer was 119. And so as soon as that's done, we'll call in the demolition team. They'll tear that house down, and they'll then sell that to a developer. And well, we'll sell it to a developer, and we'll pick out a house that we want built there, and there'll be a single family home there.
Let's move on to the business networking group. We provide updates of when the next meetings are going to be, and we're going to do that right here, but also talk a little bit about the change to that group and some additional members coming in. Tell us more.
Well, the first next meeting is April 5th. It's at 8:30, and Elevate Hennepin is coming in to talk to small business owners on how they can better run their business, maybe how to get a loan, how to get some help from the county. And the other thing that's happening on the on the 3rd of May, we're looking for somebody to host that. That'll be at 2 o'clock. And the other thing that's happening is Crystal, their networking group, disbanded, but they would like to join New Hopes. And so they're looking at a name change, New Hope / Crystal Networking Group, and they'll bring that to the networking group. It's not a city decision. That's that group's decision if they're willing to change the name. And if they are, it'll just incorporate the people from Crystal. Most of the businesses, people don't know if they're in Crystal and New Hope anyway. So
right.
It's really a good move to combine the two, I think.
All right. If you want to find out more about that group and the businesses involved, you can go to the city's website. You see it at the bottom of the screen, newhopemn.gov. Let's move ahead to the police department. A few items to update here. Candidates being interviewed for some officer positions. Where is that process going?
Well, we've made an extended offer to one of the officers, and now what happens is they will do a background check on that officer and then hire them on. When that happens, we'll have a full complement of officers in New Hope, which is really exciting. And the other thing that's been happening is we were looking for an evidence technician.
Right.
We like to hire from within whenever we can. And so this is kind of complicated, but one of our clerks has actually been upgraded to that position, to the evidence technician. And our second shift clerk is moving to the day shift. And so we'll be advertising for a second shift clerk. But whenever you hire from within like that, there's always a movement of a lot of people. So it's not a hard thing to do. It's just a lot of people moving.
That is true. All right, let's head to Public Works, give folks an update on some of the things happening outside around the city. The first is ash trees. Public Works continues to work on getting rid of those trees.
They do. We have a company that's working on the golf course to remove the trees, but our Public Works department is trying to remove the ones on the boulevard just because it's a cost savings to them. So they're busily doing that. The other thing they're doing, and this kind of was a surprise to me, they're cleaning and waxing the floors of the park buildings. And to do that, they have to heat up the floor.
Okay.
So apparently,
didn't know.
Well, I suppose if it's cold and they try to clean it with water, it'll just freeze, and they don't want that. So first they heat up the floor, and then they're going to clean that and wax it. So they've been busy, and I'm sure they're happy, or at least hope to be happy, that they're not plowing any more snow this year.
Yes, hopefully we're done with that and we get flowers like are behind you. Let's move ahead to Park and Rec. This is a fun area too to talk about that nice weather coming. One thing that's coming up is spring break for a lot of the students in the area, and it sounds like Park and Rec has a little bit of everything for everyone.
We'll have spring break camps, and if you look on your In Motion, you'll see there's a couple pages of them. But what's opening right now is basketball, gymnastics, soccer, and theater. If you need some financial help for your child in one of these camps, please go into your InMotion. It'll tell you what you need to do. Typically, the city will pay half the fee, and the parent will pay the other half. So those are the things that are opening up.
All right, and here's that in motion right here. This is what it looks like. So look inside here, lots of valuable information about those camps and many other things going on in the city. Here's a fun note. We've got some pictures to show as well. We had some wrestlers from the city of New Hope head out and do very well.
They did. 4 of our wrestlers finished in the top 10, and we had 1 state championship. I don't know how old that was, but I was kind of surprised to see the pictures and how little those wrestlers, some of them, they start pretty young, I guess.
Right. Yes, that is amazing. Let's talk about the older ones in the city, adult softball program. It is time now to get registered for that, correct?
We're still having openings on Monday evenings, and this is the time to register because the ones that have been there before have re-registered, and those times are all filled up. So the only times available right now are Monday evenings. So if you've got a new team forming, this is the time to sign up.
Another need for adults to help out is parent volunteers for some of the youth baseball programs. How can they get involved, and how is this a benefit to that family where someone volunteers?
Well, we're trying to get and train coaches for Little League softball or baseball. And if you're a coach, and a female or a male, by the way, if you're a coach, your child gets to play for free. And so we will be training you if you decide to do that. We're always looking for parent coaches to help out with those teams.
Let's head over to the golf course. A quick update here. They were busy this past weekend, but not with golf, Mayor, with just about everything else. What was going on inside the clubhouse?
Well, there was a paint and wine class on Friday night, which was very well attended. Not sure if they wanted to paint or they wanted to drink wine, but that's not for me to judge. And then there was a baby shower there. So that was pretty well attended too. If you're thinking about something in the spring, in June or July, like a graduation party, you better get busy to get yourself signed up for that. It's a very reasonable place to have the gathering. You can bring in your own caterers, you can bring in your own food. It's really reasonable, and it's a fun, good place to be.
And speaking of golf, the leagues start up not too far away, the week of April 17th. So mark that on your calendar and stop by the course and check out if you might want to join up on a league. Over to the ice arena we go. A lot of activity happening there. Chance for people to still get inside and skate themselves, and also lots of construction going on.
Well, there's open skating on Friday and Sunday, and that'll be on the North Rink. And they're also having tryouts for the I have to get this right, for the high performance trials for both boys and girls. And they're having something called the Attitude Goaltender camps. I'm not sure if they're giving them an attitude or correcting an attitude, but that's the name of it. So that's what's going on there. In the South Rink, if you remember right, we took out the ice and they plowed that all off with the Bobcat. Now they're sawing up the concrete slabs into 5 by 5, 5 feet by 5 feet pieces, and that'll be hauled out. There's 504 of them that have to be hauled out of there. And once that's done, they'll smooth out the sand and the stuff underneath, and then they'll start pouring the cement, and then the ice will go back in. So that it takes a long time, and that'll be all ready by fall, but it's going to take most of the summer to get that ready.
It does sound like a process. One final note here about the outdoors, that snow is melting. So you might have to quickly run out and grab a little snow if you want to enter the Snowman Snow Sculpture Contest. But we got a few more days, Mayor?
We have until the 31st. You know that snow is not real good for a snowman, but it is good for a snow structure.
Okay.
So it could be, and it doesn't have to be huge. You just take a picture, name it, and have your name and address on the picture, send it into the city and see if you can win a prize.
All right, sounds good. Let's go over to human resources. One update here, interviewing candidates for the city manager. How is that process moving along, and how does that process actually work?
Well, it's moving along just a great better than we thought, actually. We had 33 people actually sign up. 22 of them are moving on to the next phase. And what that is, they'll be asked to do a 5-minute interview, fill out some forms. The city council will get those interviews and the forms of these 22. And on the 10th of April, we will decide on which ones we're actually going to be interviewed. And then we'll do that interview process in May. Hopefully we'll have a new city manager by the 1st of June.
And one final note to pass along, we want to take you to the Aquatic Park. Recently, a nice article in the Sun Post about the Aquatic Park and some of the staff there. And also we've got something new coming called Tot Time. Mayor, tell us more.
Well, our aquatics director, Tony, did a nice article on the Sun Post about lifeguards and how difficult it is to hire them. And one of the things that New Hope is doing is we're going to be able to hire these lifeguards that aren't certified, but they'll get their certification in the pool. But of course, the pool has to have water in it to get their certification. So there might be a little delay from the time we get the water in there till they're actually certified, but they'll be doing some other stuff around the pool to be helpful. So we'll get those lifeguards, and then we'll be able to have longer hours, and the lifeguards will get a chance to have some time off if they need to. The other thing they're doing, and this is kind of fun, they're calling it Tot Time, and the little kids 0 to 5 twice a month can come into the pool before the pool opens to the public, so they can splash around in that shallow water with a parent or a guardian. So it's $4 a child, unless you happen to have a pool pass for the child, and the parent gets it free. So all of that information is in the In Motion, so they can go into that and look up Tot Time and see what that involves.
Excellent. Yep. Great book right here, In Motion. Have them at City Hall. Also, everyone got it in the city of New Hope. So take a look there. Stick with us. Also, a couple events coming up in the city that you might want to put on your calendar. Mayor, thanks once again for your time. Look forward to talk to you again next week.
Thanks. I hope the daisies are still blooming next week.
Let's hope so. Learn more about the connection at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.